Okay.
Hey. Okay. Testing 1 2 1 2.
Green light, I'm gonna go, but I'm not.
And NASA.
Let's go. Hey, like a green light, I'm gonna go, but I'm not green.
And welcome to another episode of the Little Souvenirs podcast. We are so excited to be here with our wellness contributor, Rachel, and of course the co-host, Kim. Kim has been on hiatus for a little bit. She's been working fervently on some creative projects. So it's really good to have her back in this space. And for all who don't know, I'm Mariah. My name is spelt like Maria, so you will hear Maria and Mariah. Either one works, right? But we're really excited to be here. This is a long time coming. It's been a journey, and we're so excited to get started with this conversation.
Yep.
So, Rachel, you have the floor.
Yes, well, thank you guys for having me today. We want to talk about kind of like grinding and building our opportunities as women, and we're doing it brick by brick. We want to find peace while we're getting there through our journey, right? We want to have an enjoyable time.
Yes.
So we're kind of just talking a little bit about that and what steps we can take to be our most successful selves.
Yeah. Did you say accessible or successful? Successful. You know, a lot of times as we get older in our careers, people start asking you to define what you mean by success.
Oh, you're so right.
Yeah.
Right?
So true.
So I have had to ask myself when I first started writing, what I thought of success was probably, just making sure that I'm published, probably purchased by a lot of people. And then a friend of mine said to me a few years ago, Kim, let me tell you, that's not success, because if a couple of people buy your book, then that's really good. And I thought, oh, no, a couple of people.
Yeah.
No, I want to go global. I want to go
Yeah.
worldwide. Isn't that success?
Yeah.
But then I hear actors say, do not judge yourself and your career by your last gig. Right? So if my first book was best-selling and sold 50 million copies, then I'm going to feel like I'm nothing if the next book
You're right.
sold, 1,000. And is that really true?
So real.
So what do you think about success, Rach? What's your take on it?
Everyone has to define what success means to them, right? Because it's important to have goals and get crystal clear on what you want.
Yeah.
Because the clearer you are on the goals you want to reach, the more solid you can start building those bricks, right?
Right.
Like a lot of people know their purpose and passion already, and people who don't know that, if you want to tap into that, definitely meditation, deep thought. But for the people who already know their purpose and their point of what they came here for, or their mission, it's like you can start kind of going to the end point of where is my goal, and then backtracking from there to like get to where you want, close the gap between where you're at and where you want to be.
Yeah.
That's a good
Right?
point.
Yeah.
So it's like just that deep desire to have what you want, but you have to know what that is. So that's like step one, right? Get crystal clear on what are your goals.
Right. Yeah.
And I think success seems initially like a linear path. We think that success is going to be a straight line. And I think what meters you, what gets you to reassess what success looks like specifically for you, is when you start to realize that it's a journey. And I've heard so many people say, people want to run the race like it's a sprint, it's a marathon, right? And it's a marathon times 10.
It really is.
I think assessing what my own view of success has been really a moment where I've had to accept where I'm at and where I want to be, and also have to accept that since I've decided to say that I feel that I have guidance on the path that I'm going, that I have to trust that I'm on the right path. Like you said this in another episode, but if we're doing the best we can do, if you're showing up in the best way you know how to show up, then you have to, at some point, let go. And I think that's the hardest part about this path of success, is the trajectory of understanding, there are some things you just simply can't control. And there are some things that are just simply not for you in that moment.
Yes.
And the desire to get there is right, but the moment has to meet the timing. And I'm learning that. And it's step by step and day by day, honestly.
Yeah. That and like you said, Rachel, knowing what you really want. Like that was hard for me, I think.
Lost my glasses.
That's part of the reason why I never wear my glasses on my head, because they always fall off because my head's big. But anyway, is knowing what I want. That shifts.
Yeah.
And being okay with that, right?
The shift of that, knowing what you want.
Yeah,
right?
knowing what you want, what I want out of my career. The other day I was rushing to work and I was listening to this radio host. And she is a singer, she's a musician, but she got this gig being a radio host, and she never thought that she'd be really good at it.
Wow.
And she's really good at it. Like sometimes I'm amazed at how in between songs, she'll just come up with something pertinent, something interesting. And I'm thinking, wow, does she write that stuff beforehand or does it just come to her?
Yeah.
But right? But anyway, she's starting to feel like, she said, I know it seems like I've had a really great year musically in my career. She said, but I'm still not where I want to be. And she said, and I'm grappling with that. And I thought, me too. And that has been so hard for me because I thought all year I was doing such a great job on my book, y'all. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm really going to get there. By the end of the year, I'll probably be submitting it. No, I thought by September-ish.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's been a long process, but you'll get there. I feel
You
like
will.
you're making good progress.
Yeah, that and well, like I said, then going back to what do you want? What is success? Because so many people, I don't know if you guys know this in the book industry, but so many people are having to decide to self-publish. For me and for, I think, new writers, that was always death. That was certain death to self-publish. It meant nobody wanted you. None of the big publishers wanted you. Then I met with Philip Pullman, when I was in grad school. And for those of you that don't know, Philip Pullman is a famous writer and children's book author, YA writer, British. The Golden Compass with Nicole Kidman, okay? The Dark Materials, okay? I established
For all
it.
the writing community. People.
Right, that's Philip Pullman. And he said his advice to us new writers was self-publish.
Oh, wow, I'm surprised by that.
Right.
Me too.
This is one of the most prolific writers I know I've ever met. So super successful. The Golden Compass we're talking about here. And he said self-publish because the publishing industry isn't what it used to be. And we were all, I could see the room of 15 of us, we were all like,
Shocked,
what did he
right?
just say?
And it's like you trust because that's somebody who's reached the pinnacle of their journey
Yes.
doing what you want to do.
Right.
So you trust and you release, right?
Right. But is that success,
Well,
Rachel? If I have
success-
to decide to self-publish.
So happiness is key, right? Happiness is rule number one, like above all, health, good health and happiness. And it's like you might have beliefs around the fact that if I self-publish, like I ain't shit, like, because I'm this type of author. Because you're like old school and you're thinking about the industry, the book industry, how writing works. When you submit something, like if nobody wants it, then they have to self-publish. That's your limiting belief on it. But the reality is, like, just because it's a self-publish, it could be the most fire shit ever. Like think about how many artists are unsigned.
Yeah, that's so true.
And they're like some of the best.
Yeah. Are they still not artists because they're not signed?
Right.
That's right,
and
right?
Everybody starts somewhere, like making progress in whichever ways you can. Like you want to enjoy putting in the work. And that's when you know, I have my passion, I have my purpose. Because if you enjoy doing it, right, you know you're in the right place.
And when you stop enjoying it, I think that's the assessment too. When I'm stopping the joy of it, then I know I need to step back, take a break, or pivot. Because if I'm doing something that no longer makes me happy, I heard someone say once, you know, a job isn't supposed to make you happy, it's work, right? And some people have that philosophy.
Well, that's terrible.
I mean,
I
it
know.
works for some people, right? And that's their philosophy on life. It is a job, it has a function, it helps me provide for myself, and then my happiness is my responsibility. And I've always seen the integration of both. You know, like the joy of, I like what I do. I'm doing something that I feel has impact, has meaning, and I'm also happy in it. You know, I want to show up as my full self. But I think in terms of writing, it reminds me of the filmmaking community, because if you don't know, my aunt's a writer, I'm a filmmaker, and one thing that I've had to accept is that things have evolution, right? You know, from a technical perspective, cameras, equipment's always evolving. So I think being a filmmaker forces you to always be in a period of change, because everything you work with has different layers, different levels, different steps, and then new technology comes out. So you're always like pivoting to fit the moment, fit the need. But in terms of writing, you know, just like you evolve, the industry is making space for other voices. And that's a transition that you're seeing also, in my opinion. And it's the same thing that happened in the film world. You know, there were traditional ways about going about things because it fit a very secure mold. But now that the mold is expanding, it means that the industry is shifting. And I think to think of yourself holistically in terms of what you have to offer is, there's nobody that can do what you can do. Period, point blank. There's no one who can show up like you can show up. Whether you self-publish, whether you have a publisher, there's no one that can bring that little touch to your book like you can. And it's evolving to make space for voices. Self-publishing came about because the industry was so narrow, and who got to get their work out there. So they had to find other venues. So I think, like, I understand wanting a big name, and this is me coming from, you know, having a film experience that has had some level of notoriety, and then having a film experience that I'm working on something now that's in the shadows, right? No one knows about it right now. I'm just excited about it.
That's a beautiful thing, though, right? To have
It
like
is
your
beautiful.
little project.
I get joy out of it, and I actually get joy out of no one watching me. I say that to my aunt all the time. You know, the more you push in your industry, the more visible you become. And I'm not famous. I mean, I think that's obvious, right? But I've just found, in the little bit I've experienced with the work that I'm doing, the expectation can take the joy out. Because I found it so interesting when I was doing stuff for filmmaking things. People always asked me what was next. Almost always.
That is
and
true.
I always felt I needed to have an answer. And I have a trail of projects that are undone because I felt I needed to have an answer. When somebody asked me, what are you working on now? I felt like I was like, okay, let me pull something from the archives. Let me work on something. And I was like, yeah, no, it's not hitting. It's not working.
Let me say I'm doing something else.
Everything has to be, you want to take, like, you know, driven inspiration. Like, you don't want to just be like, you know,
one hit wonder. You just don't want to be like that one person who did one thing with someone else and you don't have your name on anything. And I had to really find, like, okay, it's okay to take a step back. So I just say, like, Rachel's so right. Like, as we're building brick by brick, your accomplishment, no one can be who you are when you show up to write. And I've been questioned on this, but I have been doing a better job, I think, of, like, reading snippets, that's to be honest, of my aunt's work. But, like, honestly, I see what you're producing, and I think that it needs to get out there. And the venue, quite frankly, whatever way it makes it out, it's going to fit a market. So, Rachel, in terms of, like, this discussion of success and building brick by brick, you know, one of the things we discussed offline is this conversation of, you can be in a grind, we can push, but everything doesn't always have to be a hustle. It doesn't always have to be about the journey.
It's a shift in perspective, right? Because it's like, you know, there's always those type of people that are always like, oh, on the grind, struggle, hustle,
Yes.
like, and it just like takes the
Yes.
fun out of it, right?
Yes.
It's like we want to, everything that we need is coming our way. What is meant for us will never pass us by. Once you start to believe that, you will see the shift in your existence. Carry yourself like it's already done. Your goal's already been reached. It's done. Like God gave it to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like trust, but release. Don't feel lack. Don't feel like I'll be happy when I lose this weight, or I'll be happy when I publish this book. Like be happy now and embrace all of the ups and downs of the journey, because like you said, success is not linear. It's more like of a zigzag path. Like, and so we get to where we want to be in time, but there has to be a consistent, blissful existence for that to happen, because when we put ourselves in that vibrational frequency, we're aligning ourselves with our goals, rather than being somebody who's like, I ain't got no money, like I ain't got no car, you know what I mean? It's always people who, you know, the fun suckers and like the
That's true.
Fun suckers.
I like that. You need to write a shirt. Don't be like, make a shirt that says, don't be a fun sucker. Like, don't take the fun out of everything.
Well, yeah, because it's like you want to be a high frequency individual, right? And surround yourself with high frequency individuals. Live in the moment. Be happy. Be grateful. When you wake up in the morning, talk about 3 things you're grateful for. Or if you're alone, think about it with yourself. Like, you know, visualize your day with the highest possible scenario. Whatever you want. When you wake up in the morning, visualize it, because what you're doing is you're actually rehearsing for the event, and your brain doesn't know the difference between if you're rehearsing the event or if you're actually there. The brain doesn't know. So it's like when you're putting out that energy, you're basically like theatrically playing this out. How do you want it to be? So you definitely want to visualize exactly what you want in as much vivid detail as you can.
So is that if someone is grappling with like, I am in a negative space and I have been on this journey to reach this success at this specific time, whatever that success is, but I'm learning that I want to reassess what I call joy. I keep seeing that word lately, joy, and I want to be a high frequency person. What is it, those steps that you just talked about? Like, what does it mean to show up in high frequency? And for the person that doesn't even know how to start, like, what's a small step?
Okay, it's in the little details of your life and your existence, right? Every day when we wake up, we have choices. So like, even things like, oh, you know, you stub your toe and then your day is fucked and you're just like, everything's bad from there, right? Because everything's energy. And in the same way, we can spark off good energy and a good day by doing the opposite, right? So like when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is smile, because when you smile, it tricks your brain into thinking you're happy, right? So smile and start to visualize, what does my day look like? What do I want it to look like? And not just your day, your week, your month, your year, your 10 years. Like, because what you think about is what you bring about. And we're all in this program creating our own existence and creating our own reality. But little do we know, there are all these subconscious programs embedded within us that we've acquired through these systems of society, but also through our own like deep critical thinking. And so it's like you have to kind of cut that down and break that down, like brick by brick, to literally rebuild in a society who kind of treats us or trains us to be less than what we are able or capable of.
Right. And defining that success as we're building, brick by brick. And it's not linear, like you said, Mariah, right? I mean, you're thinking, I'm really doing it. It's really happening. And then boom, it's not. Maybe you take 2 steps back or whatever it is in your journey. And so you start feeling, well, look at everybody else. They're right.
But stop judging. Stop judging the events that happen in your life, right? Because no matter what we have happen to us, good or bad, when we judge that event, we're putting more of that vibrational frequency out. So if it's a good thing and you want to feel good about it, that's okay. But if we're not going to judge the bad things that are happening. Now, just because somebody has a self-published book, right? Does that mean they'll never sell a book to a big publisher?
Right.
Exactly.
No. Yeah. So it's like we kind of limit ourselves with our own limiting beliefs. So I'm this because, like, my worth is this because this is where I'm at. Worth, like Bob Marley said, like, what you think somebody's wealthy because they have money, like wealth is so many aspects of who we are.
Right.
And it's our health, and it's our thought process, and it's our journey, and it's the way we treat others and how we love. And like, imagine if everybody in the world that you interacted with, you were met with like unconditional love. Then your fear of the judgment would be non-existent.
Right. And, you know, it's funny you said that about, you said something a minute ago. That's a fortune cookie that I got, actually.
Really?
It's,
Which one?
a
We
couple
love
of weeks
fortune
ago.
cookies, by the
we
way,
love
right?
fortune cookies. Fortune cookies, they're the bomb.
They are the bomb. They're the bomb.
I'm
They're the
telling
bomb.
you, this fortune cookie said, you will be judged by how well you love others, right?
Yes.
How well you love others and how you treat others.
Yes.
That's what it said.
We're all one collective consciousness.
Yes.
So, right, so what you put out, essentially, how you treat others is how you treat yourself.
Yes, yes. And I said, and I keep that right by my bedside. Because one of the things, I'm a perfectionist. If anybody doesn't know that, I'm a perfectionist, right?
Yes.
I get very upset with myself if I do not behave perfectly at all times. Now, when I say behave perfectly, I mean say the right thing and do the right thing.
That comes from your childhood.
Oh,
Like,
really?
Absolutely.
Oh, who effed me up?
Absolutely.
Who? Somebody
all
effed me
mad
up. Somebody effed me up. Tell me, Rachel. Who effed me up?
Which one was it?
No, but like, so these are like the formations of our mind thought process. Like when you have a very, very strict parent that holds you to a high standard of perfection, my friend.
Yes.
Yes.
Both of
babe.
my parents
Yes.
are perfection. I mean, very high standards. I mean, they just are. They're
It
perfectionists.
sticks with you. Listen, my mom was the same way. It was like, oh, you got an 80. Well, why didn't you get a 90? Oh, you got a 90. Well, why didn't you get a 100? But that's because our parents knew what we were capable of. They knew how smart we were. They knew how hard like we could go to achieve. So it's like,
Yes.
it's like they had good intentions, and I always look at everybody's intentions, right? Because we
Yeah.
can forgive people for stuff, but,
Right.
like if it wasn't, if it wasn't out of spite or out of a negative emotion, people try. People think they're doing their best, right?
Right.
So give people,
do.
give people.
They
the
do.
flowers.
They do.
People do.
They do.
People
They
think
do.
they're doing their best.
And they don't realize, like, you're walking away a little bit scarred, just a little bit. There's like a little burn, tar marks on
Yes.
on the street from like
Right.
that kind of hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
But I feel like I want to ask you this because, and you can ask the same of me. But I feel like the moment has led to this, to see what is it that you've done that you're really proud of yourself for. Because I feel like I hear you as my aunt. I look at all the accomplishments that I remember as a child growing up, seeing you be a part of, right? All of those moments of being in the theater, it was a big deal to me. I've shared this story before where we were traveling upstate and they were like, we're going to see your aunt's play. And that was, to me, that was huge as a kid. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm going to campus to see my aunt.
That was a big
directing
deal.
the
That was
play.
a big deal.
I was so enamored by
Yeah.
it. And when you brought me to campus, anybody who knows me knows I'm food driven. It doesn't matter. I still remember being on campus and you bringing me to the food cafeteria. I got the waffles. But those were big moments in my mind because I saw you as reaching for something. And in my older age, as I've matured, I still see you reaching, but I don't see you recognizing
Yes,
what
and you've
reached.
done so much and you've inspired others, but yet you're still right here talking about little old me, and I don't want to hear that conversation no more,
know.
Miss
You
Little
see
old
yourself
me.
like
You,
little.
Yeah,
I
you see,
do.
you need to see your
I
whole
do.
self and be the best you, because
do.
you are great at what you do.
Yes.
You are great at what you do. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of people that can do what you do.
Right.
Gotta remember
Yeah,
that.
I know. I do have a problem celebrating myself.
Yes.
We have a relative, and I do admire how she's always celebrating herself. Always. And I often
yes.
think to myself,
Yeah,
right?
I
You
know
know
who
who
it
I mean. You know who I mean.
No,
We'll
I
tell you
don't.
off camera.
Oh, we'll
Okay.
tell you off camera.
I have
And
an
I'm
idea.
always thinking to myself, I
You're
need to
always thinking,
celebrate myself.
She is living her best life.
Right.
I need to be doing the same.
Well, no, it's celebrating yourself. It's like I said, one of my best
Building
friends
your
says that to me.
confidence, You know.
Just celebrating yourself. Like, for example, one of my best friends said to me, Kim, if I wrote that, you would tell me it's great.
Chef's kiss, right?
You would say it's
Right.
great.
But why can't you appreciate yourself?
Exactly.
But that's deep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it comes from whoever effed me up, right?
It is
me
absolutely
thinking
from
when I was growing up, doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You know, if I did anything wrong,
You were greatly scrutinized if you made a mistake.
great news. You know, and sometimes I wonder if that comes from being black. I'm just gonna put it out there, right?
Yeah.
Now, of course, there's plenty of white people who would say, "Oh no, you should have grown up in my household."
Yeah,
True,
right.
but black, because we're more alike than we are dissimilar.
Right.
But growing up black, right? Everybody knows, I'm a Gen X.
Yeah.
You always heard, right? Am I Gen X? I keep getting confused.
you?
Yeah, I'm Gen
I
X.
think
I'm
you
Gen
are.
X. I'm Gen X.
We're millennials, right?
Yeah, you're millennials. I'm Gen X for sure. So anyway, I remember growing up hearing that old school, I'd rather discipline you than the cops kill you.
Right.
Growing up, you heard that, okay? And I think growing up as a black person in the 80s, you felt if you didn't meet a certain standard, right, that as a black person, you had to work harder because you were always told there is a different standard for you. There is a different metric for you.
So it's like you got to work twice as hard.
You got to
get
work
to the same
twice
place.
as hard. Exactly. You couldn't make a mistake out there in them streets, right? You couldn't, because if you did, the cops were going to get you and you was going to get killed. You know what I'm saying?
And you knew the realness of that because there's experiences you've told about racism and things that you've experienced as a black woman. So it's like, you're not just saying it, like you've lived that.
Right, exactly. And so sometimes I wonder if as a black woman, I have not allowed myself to celebrate myself as much because, probably, like I said, when I was younger, I don't know if I really thought about success or really thought about what was successful. I think I thought that everything would work out.
You're right.
And so, in a way, I need to take more of that, what you're saying, Rachel, which is when you get up in the morning, not only smile, but see it already done.
And
it's
have
already
that,
done.
Yes, the unwavering belief in yourself, right? That nothing can waver that. If you know, I have this inside of me, that's why I'm passionate about ABC, whatever, and I'm going to do it. And nobody's going to stop me. And it's like, I've utilized this method in my own life for whatever, like putting myself through college. Like nobody in my family went to college. Nobody ever like said to me like, okay, like this is what we should do if you want to go to college, like let's set up this and go look at this. Like it was more just like, I'm going to do this. Like I'm going to get a doctorate and I'm going to do this. And it's like life happens and we make plans.
You are so dope, Rach.
God laughs.
Yes,
You are so dope.
I appreciate that.
She is.
But,
You are so dope.
So life, like we're always adjusting ourselves, right? To like life's path. And just that unwavering belief that like, sure, people can say what they want to say or make their judgments, but it's all about how you feel about you, because if nobody else can emotionally move you the way you can, that's where you want to be. Like, you don't want to be able to, you don't want somebody to be able to knock you off your block with like one little simple comment or something like, oh, you're not a good author. Like, I read part of your book. Like, your book was trash. Like, how does that make you feel? And it's like, but me, I'm the type, like, if somebody said it to me, I'd be like, ha! Like, because it's like, I know how I feel about myself, and I don't write about things that I don't know about. I don't speak about things that I don't know about. So when you have the inner confidence, like, don't let anybody make you feel less than, especially if you've already experienced that in your childhood.
Right.
Because for the people who feel like they're lost and they don't have a passion or know what they're passionate about, it's all about tapping into childhood and the childhood interests and stuff that we were into when we were younger, because that's what we're really actually, before we were molded by society and programmed, it's like, what did we really have a passion for? Because that's what you want in your life, right? Because it doesn't change.
Right.
We morph and we shift, but we don't change fully at our core of our soul and what is our soul mission. So I think that's deep inside of us, and it's embedded, and we work to peel away the layers like an onion, and like you kind of like get to the soul to be like, what do you want?
Right. How do people deal with, Rachel, that, you know, everyone feels pressed for time?
Yes.
Everyone feels like, right? Like
time is of
you
the
don't.
essence.
Time, it's honestly comes down to time management, period. You should have every moment of your day blocked out as what do you need to do.
Oh, wow.
And like for me personally, what helps me the most is I keep a planner, like an agenda that we used to have in school.
Your agenda was the agenda.
Wow, really?
Was
I
down
don't
to
play.
a T.
And no, it's like days of the week. If
Oh
I need
my
to clean the bathroom,
gosh.
if I need to, you know, like dentist appointments, whatever, everything's in there, because then in 3 weeks I can look ahead and be like, all right, cool, I can record this day, or I can make a video this day, or whatever. Because if you don't manage your time this way, there will never be the time.
Right.
I can't sit for 2 hours and scroll on bullshit, because that's time I'm taking away from me. This is my life. This is my time. I only get one life in this body, in the physical form. We're a spiritual soul in the seat of a human body right now, like going through this 3D matrix, right? But we are not this body. We are the soul inside.
Yeah,
What
and
does
this
the
thing
soul
about
want?
scrolling too, this is a big problem.
It is.
It's mindless.
It's mindless, and it does keep us from
excelling.
Excelling. It's so true. One of the things that I need to do is read more, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things. I have a stack of books by my bed that I really want to get through, and I spend more time scrolling. I'll admit it. I spend more time scrolling.
But I do think it's a form of an escape. Like when we were growing
like
up,
a
you know,
relaxation.
I find when I do it and it's consistent, it's because my mind is on a lot and I'm trying to.
You had like a busy thought
Yeah.
process that
Yeah.
day.
I have like, my mind is at its limit of functioning, honestly. And I need something that's mindless that's going to feed me. And I think that what we've taken to feed us is shifting over time. Like when I look at lyrics of music, don't come for me, people. Like, please don't come for me. But you may come for me anyway. So, but when I listen to some of the old hits, right, and the lyricists and what analogies they make about life. I mean, like if you look at Stevie Nicks' song and just the evolution of time and how it changes us and just the reflection of life's choices and the impact.
Which song? Any song by Stevie Nicks? Or?
A good variety of them, but there's one in particular I cannot think of the name, and it's such a popular one. Oh gosh,
I hate
and I'm
that
not gonna
one. I can't
sing,
remember
I'm
a
not
name.
gonna sing right now. It's
Why not?
I heard that you can't too. That's a copyright thing.
Oh yeah, you're
Oh,
right too.
really?
I can't sing it. Actually, you're right. But it's gonna come to me later. But it was just about
Rihanna.
Yes, that's one of them. But there's another one she does that the Dixie Chicks did a cover on.
Okay.
Oh,
Ooh.
you know the one that Dixie Chicks did a cover on? Oh my gosh.
Oh.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to pull out my phone
Yes.
to find a receipt on this.
Huh.
But I know, you know how you know something in your head and you just can't think of the title.
Yeah, I hate that.
But when I'm listening to that and listening to like the Bee Gees or, you know, Simon and Garfunkel, and that's not even my normal music library, to be honest with you. But when you go and you're sitting and you're working on a project and you're thinking of the merging of different aspects of how you're going to pull this story together, you start researching a lot. And then I compare it to some of the lyrics that I find a younger generation, the things that are their go-tos. And that's not everyone. And I'm not criticizing music because it all has an impact on us in different ways. I just think that the taste of what people want now is a slightly changed.
And so
You
that can
know,
shift your goals too, if that's what you're talking about, you know.
Yeah, it has a shift in goals. And when I say like the taste has changed, like, you know, people like the things that are exciting and more flashy now. I think
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. There's a larger flashiness to
Yeah.
the environment of the social media space
Yeah.
than when I was young. You know, music was flashy, musicians were flashy, but that was them. There was a separation between
Yeah.
their world and my world, and I understood
Yeah.
that. Where now I notice that there's a crossover between, oh, I could achieve that, I could have that, and there's nothing, again, wrong with that. But the separation between lifestyles and this like glamour.
Right.
And
so that's what
day.
makes it an escape for you, is because there's glamour and
Yeah.
you're watching other people be glamorous.
It's glamour or telling you that you're close to it, or also some of what I listen to has nothing to do with glamour. It's just, again, mindless. You
Yeah.
know, it's just something to get my mind off of things. But then I hear that as millennials, we're a generation, and you're going through it too, where we experienced all these really impactful moments that can cause anxiety. And like, people don't think about that. Like,
Yeah.
we went through 9/11. That's something that's talked about. We've gone through all of these things, you know, economic downfalls in our economy, people seeing their parents lose jobs. Then
Right.
we go through COVID. I mean,
Right.
the world shuts
Yeah.
down.
And
Even the internet era, like we were the
Yeah.
first people to experience
That's
life as
true.
it was before.
Yeah.
Right.
And then like new life in the internet era.
Right.
so
And
true.
sometimes, though, one of the reasons why I scroll is comedy.
I
Yes,
love to laugh.
comedy.
I love a good
Comedy.
laugh.
Don't you love a good laugh?
Yes, I do.
And there are people that, I mean, I live for it. I live for it, right? What they do. Like, there's this one guy, he does stand up. And he's just, you know, POV. It'll be like
yeah.
POV when your mother wakes you up in the morning, or it's just silly
Yes.
stuff, right?
Yes.
But those things, those moments, making me smile, making me laugh,
Yes,
because
the smile,
it is
yeah.
really hard to every day push yourself,
Keep on keeping on.
right? To keep on keeping on, right?
Yeah, and that laughing and comedy, it does bring like a light moment, right? To raise, because any way that you can raise your vibrational frequency, do it, right?
Yeah.
And laughter is one of the ways. Laughter is the best medicine.
Right.
So that's not just like a cliche thing that people say. It's true. Your cells in your body respond to those good feelings and
Yeah.
feeling of joy, right? So you like are actually feeling that buildup inside your body, and then it's easier to achieve that, right? So it's like you wake up every day happy, all of a sudden it becomes a lot easier to wake up every day happy.
Right.
Right.
I agree. And
Yeah.
like, what is happiness goes back to this idea of success. Like, you've got to let go of what you were told was success.
Yes.
And I think going back, because I think that's a poignant point that you bring up, as like being a Black person in a society where you're expected to be above what the stereotypes are. And every culture can say that, right? But I think like in that space, there is some performative action in terms of like, you want to show people that you're different, that you're not what is perceived, right? And it gets exhausting. So that does go into achievement. Like, what does success look like? Because within our own culture, there's that too. Like, okay, what's your title? What have you accomplished?
Right.
We know what the narrative is. It's this hilarious video, and he wasn't trying to be funny, but it's something I showed my mom. It was about a like 1960s Black elite community, and the guy is talking about what they did to get to that space where they finally like accepted in high society. And he says this one line, and it takes me out every time. We worked like the Dickens to get here.
That video.
Oh my
It's this video about Black elite.
Yeah.
And in the 60s. And he does say that. He says, we work like the Dickens to get here. But
It is true.
It is true. But then that is another thing that can mess with your success when you work
Exactly.
to get to a certain place.
Exactly.
I remember being in therapy one time, and the therapist said to me when I walked in, she said, "Oh, you're happy today." I said, "I am?" She said, "Yes." And she said, "You know, that's how happiness comes. It doesn't
sad.
come when you get to where you want to be. It comes," she said, "in those little moments."
Absolutely. And that's why you have to cherish those little moments to find the joy in life.
Yeah.
Like a good cup of coffee, a good
Yeah.
conversation,
Yes.
standing in the
yes,
rain
girl,
when
yes.
it's like a little warm
Yes.
outside, just little things that like
Yes.
uplift you and bring joy into your life. And then when you see those moments, the universe brings you more of that, right? Because you're accepting and you're open
Right.
to it. So you're like a magnet for good moments and good times.
Right.
So
I
have
need to do that more of that. I need to be
Yeah.
more in a place more where more things will come to me that are the things that I want.
yeah, and appreciating the small things, right, is how we get there. Because if the universe sees you appreciating small things, they can say, oh, she's open for the big things now.
Yeah.
Right.
She's open for the highest possible outcomes now.
And what do
Right,
you say for
right.
people, because I know that I've experienced this, when I get something good, there was something I got, I really, really wanted it. And I was really excited when it came to pass. But I subconsciously was so scared that I was going to lose it, that I
That's bad.
sabotaged.
Yes.
And that's a real thing. You know, I think the
Absolutely.
fear of, you know, finally getting what you think you want in that moment, and then you just start crumbling because you don't have what's built up to sustain it. Like, you got to that place. And so, like, how do we get beyond, because you can get the thing that you want, but you can lose it because you can't sustain it. So how do we
Right.
work through those sabotage feelings?
Well, I think that for each person in their own way,
Yeah.
they have to be at the top of their game. So, like, for an example, if someone was a car mechanic, like, it's just a prime example, because a lot of people do that. So, like, if you wake up one day and you're like, I want to be a mechanic, right? So what are your steps? You need to get educated, go to school, be an apprentice, be at the top of your game, learn about all the cars, learn about what cars you actually are going to fix.
Right.
Be the best at what you do. When you become your best self and you wake up every day and strive to be your best self, all of that lack falls away in time, because you know, like, I do this.
Right.
Like, I do this. Like, and it all comes with loving yourself and being able to say, I believe in myself. I believe.
Yeah.
It's so cliche, right? When people are always like celebrities will always say this. Like, they're like, what is your advice for people?
Yeah.
Follow your dreams.
Yes.
Follow your dreams.
So true. That's
And it's
so
like, it's so
elusive.
cliche,
Yeah.
but it's so
It is
real.
true.
You can do anything you put your mind to.
Yeah.
And that is real. Like, and there's a quote that was like, when somebody tells you you can't do something, they're only talking about themselves. So don't mind that, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think with the fear is a really low vibration. So anybody who has that fear of lack or not having or not meeting the expectations that placed by themselves or others, they have to work on that. You have to let go of that fear. And when you have the unwavering belief that you do well or that you're good at something, right? Like, it just kind of falls away in time, and how happiness creeps in, the lack creeps out, and it's like you don't have that fear after some time.
So also, how does that look when you show up in a relationship? So, like, when you, because specifically for me, that was relationship oriented. Like,
Okay.
feeling like, oh my gosh, can I be this person that I think this person needs? And I know it started with me.
But
I
that's
know.
not.
I know.
So we're not in relationships to be like meeting the other person's needs first,
Yeah.
right? So we're meeting our needs first, and that's not selfish. Like, you love yourself and you love others and you treat
Yeah.
others how you want to be treated, and we do that. In relationships, you have to go with the flow, because you're never really 100% sure what is the other person thinking.
Yeah.
So you take each day as it comes and you go with the flow, and be a good judge of character and discernment, and know, read the room, read energies, be
Yeah.
somebody who's invested in understanding how other people feel and why and how we got there. And like, yeah, of course, you can be like, what does this person need? I want
Yeah,
to be
right,
that for
right,
them.
right.
That's okay.
Right.
Like, that's okay. Like, you're basically taking on a healer's role of saying, like, I want to be everything that this person needs or whatever. And like, that's okay, but don't let yourself fall to the wayside and be like taking away from you to be like, is it good enough for them? Is it good enough for them? Is it good enough for them?
Yeah.
Because in the end of the day, like, our relationships are one of the major indicators of how healthy we are. So, like, in those places where the blue zones in the world, like Sardinia, Italy, and places like that, they have people living well over 100 years old. And these are the zones where more people than anywhere else in the world live over 100, right? And the main things, of course, it's diet, of course, it's mindset and health and exercise, but relationships and your social structure and the support system that you have are key in developing like good mental like status, I guess, if that makes sense, because we all know old people who are lonely and have no one, and they die because they're literally alone, and nobody finds, like, Fred was in his chair for 3 weeks. He didn't have nobody checking on him, but like maybe if Fred had like kids and a family and like people visiting him and you know that social support system, he would have thrived. Because think about it, if a baby doesn't have social support, that baby will die. That baby will not thrive.
Absolutely.
So we realized, like, many of us live without it. Many of us are loners. Many of us spend most of our time alone. But the truth is, that is like a crucial aspect of our existence, and we have to have that. And we have to connect with like-minded people.
We really do. I was talking to someone just last week about being a loner. I didn't say I was a loner, but this person said that they were a loner. And I said to her, are you really a loner? I said, because when we think about being a loner, I mean, what are we really saying?
Right.
What are we really saying? Because I guess what I meant by that, without trying to divulge too much of all this person's business, but this right?
Tell it.
I mean, tell it. Okay, I had invited this person to celebrate a holiday with us. And that person said to me, well, I've always been a loner. And I said, let's dissect that.
Yes, dive in.
I said, because what does that really mean when we say I've always been a loner? I said, when I was in an MFA program, we talked about that, because writers are always introverts. we always like to spend a lot of time alone.
We're the filmmakers.
They're extroverts, right? But that is a bit of a problem when we label ourselves as a loner. What does that really mean? We do need community. You know, there's an article that came out in the Atlantic. When did this article came out in the spring? And I'm so annoyed that I can't remember the author's name. I think it was David. It was David something, and it was in the Atlantic.
I remember the song name as she said that.
What?
We're going to go back to it.
Oh, okay. So in this article in the Atlantic is about how Americans have become loners, how we've separated ourselves, how we spend a lot of time alone, and what that's doing to our culture. I read this article. I didn't finish it, I admit, but I read it to my daughter, over half of the article. I read to my daughter about why are we doing this, and what some of his theories were as to why we're eating alone. Why do we?
Technology, period.
That was part of it. Being on the phone all the time and feeling and allowing that to be your comfort space. He was talking about how more people eat alone too in restaurants, which was surprising to me because I didn't know that.
But you know what's interesting, to piggyback off of that very quickly, I have actually been hearing people talking about showing up solo spaces, and there's nothing wrong with showing up to a restaurant by yourself without anyone else.
That's not good.
Wait, and an interesting, I shared this, also Architectural Digest, I think, did a piece on modern homes. Somebody did a commentary on how ultra wealthy people building homes now. If you look at the structure of the way that wealth used to look in terms of these palatial-like buildings or homes, and the structure of them now with the concrete, that it's visible, the shift in culture and the type of architecture that is being developed now in terms of, they didn't use the term isolation, but it's a really interesting article. I think I think it wasn't Architectural Digest that published that article for anybody who's looking for clarity on that, but it was a assessment of like some of the nicer homes that are considered the leaders of, pushing design to its limit. And when you start to look at why do we want to live in a house like with a concrete wall?
Right.
Like why?
Or why do we want to live in a house where the bedrooms are so large so we can continue to self-isolate instead of going out?
Well, that was
back,
another thing
right?
too, like the expansion of the space, but also the inability to have something that's warm. It was very, not the word sterile, but
That sterile is a good word. We've seen that shift in America. I don't know about other countries. I haven't traveled that much lately. We've seen that shift in America over the last 30 years. Like
wow.
all the color has been washed away. The restaurants, the
Really?
stores, the homes. And furthermore, being in a cube is the most limiting shape in terms of sacred geometry. Like,
Wow.
when you're in a pyramid, the energies and the frequencies, right? It's just something about that shape, right? That brings kind of like equilibrium and power and good vibes, where a cube it's a box. It's limiting.
Yeah.
That's why people say, think outside the box.
That's true. That's true.
And we're all in cubes every day with fluorescent lighting.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why we, go home and stare at screens all day. Well, we're already wired to be in bright lighting.
Right,
Like, it's
right.
just,
Wow.
they've created the world kind of and morphed this world into a colorless, sterile, penitentiary style of society now,
Yeah.
right? Like McDonald's, Target.
Oh,
like
I
whatever,
know the
color.
shift and the look of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
the look of it, like the 90s, the 80s, the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh, lots of
Neon,
color,
so
yeah.
much color.
Yeah.
Like, I think about Saved by the Bell. I think
Oh
about
my gosh,
like
yes.
those little cups that had the blue and purple design on them. The solo, like not solo cups, but I don't know. I have to like pull that up for you. Show you what
Okay,
I'm
please
talking
show
about.
me.
But
Also,
it's
Living
like the
Color had
That
Yeah, in the
Martin,
90s. The
everything
90s was an
color.
explosion
Yeah.
of color.
Everything
Yeah.
was color, and then like
And the
once-
80s, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Once, like, say, like maybe, I don't know, late 2000s, 2010, 2015, it was really a shift into everything being more like just I don't know.
Yeah, well, maybe this
stale.
advent of the phones and the
Yeah.
the self-isolation.
the ability to shut
Right.
people
And the
out.
IQs are going down.
Yeah.
So, like,
I
we
don't
know-
doubt it.
And like color and the way that our brain recognizes color and uses it to think is important, right? So like even taking away the color, it lessens, I don't want to say it lessens the IQ, right? Like I'm not a medical doctor. I don't research that stuff, but it would link to me, right? Like when you're taking the color out of the world, you're taking away the vibrancy, and then you're
course, yeah.
taking away people's, I won't say like will to live, right? But like one of the joys of our lives are the colors of our world. So when you take that all away from us,
Yeah.
right? It's they want us, and then they wonder like everybody's depressed, everybody's
Right.
and it's like, oh, I wonder why.
Right.
Right.
Everybody's depressed too because they're on their phone
Yeah.
and and they're scrolling and they're finding intimacy with the phone.
With the robots.
And you know,
Yes.
too, you know what I thought of when that conversation of why people aren't as collectively together is some of it the difference between competition and community? Because I feel like in a capitalist society, the person next to you is your competition, right? Your neighbor is your competition.
Yeah.
My aunt always talks
That's
about a
true.
commercial of like the person who gets the better house and then the better house.
Oh,
and
I
it's
hate
like
that
keeping up with
E-Trade.
the Joneses.
Yeah, it's an E-Trade commercial where everyone, I really hate this commercial because it's unfortunate.
Please
because,
don't sue us for this.
Yeah, but, well, the reason why I don't like the commercial is because it probably shows truth.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right?
That's
It
what they
shows
always
who
do,
we
right?
really are.
Right, right.
Right. They're all at the neighbor's house in the pool, and they should be enjoying the neighbor's pool. And they should be congratulating the neighbor that he has achieved, he and his
Right.
wife have achieved this beautiful home with this great pool. And they're jealous of the pool.
Yeah.
And they start thinking about how they've got to get a better pool.
Which is funny
So,
because it's
yeah.
reality.
Like our real
Right.
society,
So this
right?
is how we really are. And I guess that's what I hate about the commercial is how that is so true.
Right.
That is what people are really like. Instead of them thinking, the dude is thinking, damn, I got to go work on my E-Trade so I can get a better
Yeah.
pool. But what,
Right.
and unfortunately, this kind of competition
Yeah.
forces us to spend more time alone because then we stop trusting people.
Yes. The trust level.
Right? We stop trusting people when we start seeing them as our competition.
Yeah.
And when you talk about building community, Rachel, and how important that is, how can we do that when we're looking at our friends as our competition all the time, right?
Remember, you want to be like, you want to surround yourself with like-minded people, right? Like, all of us have our own circle of friends. I trust, like me personally, I trust all my friends. All my friends have been in my circle 20, 30 years.
Wow.
Like, I'm not taking on no new friends. That's not my thing.
Beautiful.
Because when you surround yourself with people that you know in your heart have your best interest at heart,
Right.
we support each other, right? Like, I'm always going to clap for my friends' wins. They're always going to clap for my
Right.
wins. Surround yourself with people who you can do that
Exactly.
with. Right? Don't allow yourself
Yeah.
to be confined to groups of people who are, you know, have limiting beliefs. Even the
Yeah.
person who's
Right.
like, I'm a loner, I'm a loner.
Yeah.
Well, look at the etymology of the word, alone. You're alone. So in
Yeah.
some way, shape, or form, you're trying to say you're less than, and that's why you're alone.
Right,
Like, that's
right.
what it comes
it's
down
it's
to.
important. It's important to really dissect the word and
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
deconstruct it and think about it when people say I'm a loner, because I have always said, even me myself, I've often said, oh, I'm more of an introvert, but I didn't used to be. When I was young, growing up, I was not. I mean, come
Right.
on. When I walked down the halls in middle school, I mean, everybody knew who I was because I was like, hey,
Yeah.
how you doing? Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
puta. You know,
Used
this
to
was
it.
this is what I used to go, right? I had a best friend from Chile. She was Chilena, and I thought that the best word in the world when she taught it to me was puta. And so, you know, I mean,
If you don't know what that means, then look it up.
right,
Look it up.
right,
It's like
and
full disclosure.
full disclosure. So, you know, but when we tell ourselves that we like being alone,
Yeah.
there are moments when that is good.
You're
Right.
supposed
When
to
we-
like
we
being
should
alone,
recharge.
Right? You can't be happy by yourself. You can't be happy with somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's a fine line between full hermit mode, where you're
Right.
like staying in the house for years, you're not doing
Right,
anything,
right,
and there
right.
has to be a balance, right? And I think, like, each day we have to read ourselves, ask ourselves, what do we need? What do we want? Like, do we want social interaction today?
Mhm.
Do we want solitude?
Right.
Because some of the best moments are born in solitude.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you have to take it, like, to the limit and be like, I only
Right.
hang out alone. Sorry, I can't come to your holiday.
Right. No, and you know, I don't mean that this person doesn't have a
Yeah,
life,
yeah, yeah.
a
Of
full
course,
life.
of course.
This person has a very full life.
But it probably
But-
made you assess yourself too. I think sometimes you hear things and you're like, oh, okay, I may have attributed this to myself. What does that mean?
Right. Well, I kind of wanted to share too what I have, like you said, what I've learned about being alone.
Yeah.
We have to be very strategic about the moments that we choose to be alone.
And this is enlightening too. It's
Yeah,
enlightening.
it is. You have to
Yeah.
to. So I think what I did was help that friend say, because I said to my friend, you might not want to spend it with me, but you need to think how you want to spend that day.
And that's
Yeah.
a good
and
friend.
and so
Yeah.
and so she did. She came up with a way that's going
Yeah.
to soothe her soul.
Oh, I like that.
But I think that it was important for me as a friend to say, let's talk about that word, because we do need to be more mindful. Like you always say, mindful of our choices, mindful of the people that, you know, we surround ourselves with. Because another thing this friend said to me, which was really powerful, is she said, you know, I'm very careful about who I surround myself with
You have to be.
and who's in my space,
Yes.
you know?
And I think, not that it's completely related, but when I started thinking about success and what I was willing to do, to achieve certain things, I started really assessing what meant more to me and what do I want my life to look like when I
Right.
get older. Do I want to have a lot, or do I want to be happy and full of love with people around me? And I think that's why it's always been attractive to me to see people living in spaces where community is the most important thing. Like, if you're in Italy and the stories I hear, you can go to your neighbor's house and ask for sugar and it's not
Yeah.
a big deal. Or you're expected to share space and people
Right.
want to share in those moments. That's the kind of richness I want.
It's a human connection that we
Yeah.
all kind of, like, we all need it, right? But there's levels to like how much do we need and
Right.
what kind of connection.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I like about being older, I know we talk about being older as a negative thing in our society, but one of the things that I have liked about being older is I no longer choose a friend just to have a friend. Like
Right.
back in the day, right?
Right.
I'd be like, well, it's better than going here or there
I need
alone.
somebody to ride with me.
Right,
To go, yeah.
right.
Right.
Nowadays, it's like
Right.
I'm gonna get there by myself.
Exactly.
Like,
If people do not pour back into me the way that I pour back into them, then they're no longer my friend.
yeah, that's how when
you know?
you get people around you and you have people you care about, treat people how you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And after a short time, then you treat them how they treat you.
Yeah,
That's how it works.
exactly.
Right? And then in time, that'll either cause them to fall away from you or become closer with you because you're mirroring the person.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When we mirror the people in our lives, we get good results if we have good people.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have bad people, then you already know what time it is. So it's like
You know
really-
what time it is. What is that from? Oh my gosh. That reminds me of Flavor Flav's show. He used
Oh,
to
with
say
the
that
clocks.
all the
He would
time
always
in
have
the
the-
class.
What?
You know what time it is.
Oh,
Flavor Flav
okay.
show.
Is that a millennial thing?
Flavor
Flavor Flav.
He's-
You
isn't
know
he
the
from
Flavor
Albany?
Flav show?
I don't know. No, well, I'm thinking of I Love when he
That is-
wait, there
yeah.
was I Love New York.
New York, that was Flava's girl, right?
That was
Yes.
Oh, that was so
Remember
good.
when Pumpkin spit at her?
I don't think I ever saw that, but that
Oh
was.
my God, that was the
that was the
best.
That was
moment.
real TV.
That was
real.
What
good.
do the young people do? I feel so old doing this, but is it this thing now?
I don't know what
I've
this
What
seen
is
that.
what is this?
I don't know
But
what it is,
apparently
but I've
means
seen
it
it.
hits the moment. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
we learn something new every day.
Yes, but I remember that.
Yeah.
You know, he does say what time. Y'all know what time it is.
Yeah.
And he also became very supportive to talking about building community. One of the things that I like about celebrities is that when they continue to reinvent themselves, and Flavor Flav is one of those people that he continues to rebuild his communities.
Yes.
What's the last one that I saw him rebuild? Is being on the Olympics, the Summer Olympics.
That was amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
He did such a good job.
I
He
Yep.
was out
know.
there.
With-
I would not believe this. if
Yes,
you were
with the
not
water
telling me
polo
this.
team. It was the female water polo team.
Okay.
Water polo team, if I'm not mistaken. I couldn't believe it because I'm a big Olympics person.
Okay.
You know, I just love, I guess, I don't know. It's not that I'm a real sports person. I mean, tennis is my thing. But I just love the Olympics because it gives me a chance to celebrate people who are doing their thing.
Oh my gosh, and
who are
aren't
just
they?
working so hard on that
They
grind,
are.
man. I mean,
Because the physical stuff ain't no
Oh my-
joke.
right,
Right?
exactly.
You know?
So I
Every
love
day,
it.
in and out.
And so when I started watching the Olympics in the summer, I guess it was last summer. That's how fast
Yeah.
time goes.
Winter Olympics is coming up now.
Yep, I already have the app on my phone.
Italy.
I already have the app on my phone. You should get the app because it has a lot of stories in there about
Really? Okay, I'll have
about
to do that.
athletes
Giving
that
you
we may see in the
inspiration for your
games.
next book.
Yeah. Well, my next book is
actually.
actually about a swimmer.
Right here.
Yeah, we are here. You know, we always here, girl. So I was shocked to see Flavor Flav at the water polo event.
Uh-huh.
And he supported the American women's water polo team.
Yeah.
And I said, you got to give that guy his props. I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't seem
give
like
him
his
his
scene,
flowers.
right?
Right. At
Right.
all. But
That's the pivot of
yeah.
Like we're
Pivot.
allowed to be,
Right.
we're allowed to change.
Right.
and your
Yeah.
success, looking at that, like the journey, you can stay in one space or you can allow yourself to see where your gifts and talents take you, and it may be an unexpected place.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
A
so
lot of times.
are we drawing to a close now on Flavor Flav and reinventing yourselves and constantly keeping your community fresh?
I think we are. I think, as we wrap, I think it's important to think about what brought us into the space, because it's been a long time coming, wanting to record with Rachel, IRL, in real life, in the studio, and I'm really excited.
And
that
in New
we
York
get to-
City. That's
and
been
in
the
New
whole
York
thing.
City.
That's the whole
In
thing.
New York City. Shout out to New York City. Shout out to the studio.
Yes.
Shout out to Podstream.
Because if you
which
can
is
make
where
it
we are
here,
now.
you know.
If you can make it here, then you can make it. You finish the line.
Yeah.
But you know, when Little Souvenirs got started and we went through the rebrand to really think about what we want our next season to be, one of the things we reflected on was the moments in our life that were impactful. And listening to people from our previous season when we were known as Sparkle Up, and I'm full of sparkles today, and listening to the journeys of everyone that we spoke with, there were so many jewels, and you spoke about the gems, of pulling out gems from when you're speaking with people. And I think, like, when I think of Little Souvenirs, it's the gems that people offer. Those moments in life that they can share that can lift another person up or make somebody else smile, or also, you know, reassess some things, to also not be so hard on yourself. You know, when we're traveling and we have those little, I feel like I gasped there, but when we're traveling and we have those little keepsakes, those little mementos that we keep, you know, for me, I like to collect clams. My sister does too, but I like to collect clams on the beach.
Aw.
It's like nothing special. I always think I'm gonna find a pearl in one.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why I do it, but I was taught, you know, you can put a clam to your ear and you hear the ocean. And that reoccurring wave is centering for me. But those little moments, it just brings me peace. And like, I feel like we all have these spaces and places in life that bring us those moments, that just bring us peace, that just make us smile. It's not a big thing. A clam is free, right? You go on a
Yeah.
beach. I can go on any given beach and get a clam.
Yeah.
You know, you may want to be
And
careful
it's
what
like a
beach you go
moment,
on.
right?
but-
You created for yourself. And
Yeah.
It's such a good feeling.
And it's joy. And I think that's what I started realizing as we were rebranding, is like making space to find joy, being intentional about the joy finding.
Yes.
As intentional as I am about building, so to speak,
Yeah.
I need to be as intentional about capturing that joy and not letting it go. And I've not
And it's
arrived.
there.
I'm journeying.
Yes, you are doing so good, and the joy
Thank
is
you,
there.
thank
We
you.
just have to find it, you know.
Right.
That's
Piece
right.
by piece, brick by
Piece
brick.
by piece. Okay, so what's your souvenir so far for this holiday season? What little souvenir have you picked up?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think the souvenir that I've picked up is just being happy that I was able to, the things that I've prayed for are coming to pass. And even though it's hard, and my aunt can attest to it, I'm not going to use this as an opportunity to put myself down. Even though I don't spend enough time reflecting about my prayers coming true, it was encouragement I feel from the Lord to help me pivot into a new space. And I'm grateful that I'm actually living in answered prayers, and I need to spend more
Yes,
time
we
sitting
spoke
in
about
that.
last time, remember?
Yeah.
We used to pray for what we have now.
Right.
We never take the time to be like, good job. Like, you did a good
Yeah.
job. Even if no one's telling us, you got to reflect on that. You've made so much progress in
Thank
your
you.
life, in your career, in your relationships over the past few years. That's really
true.
important.
What are
true.
your souvenirs? Rachel, what's
Rachel,
your
I'm going
my
to you
gosh.
next.
I mean, I think even just today, what we've talked about more than we usually talk about it is like a sense of community,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's easy for us to be like in hustle mode, like just stay to ourselves, like do
Yeah.
what we got to do. But like sometimes on a Friday night, like maybe you should like go meet a friend. Maybe
Right.
you should call somebody up and have a conversation. Like, take these moments of your life, and like tomorrow isn't promised, right? So like
Right.
don't take anything for granted. Like, thrive off of the relationships that you have and utilize them, because it's like that's what they're here for. Having good people around you creates like good movement in your life. You
I
know,
agree.
we are the sum of the people we surround ourselves with.
That is so true.
So sense of community, knowing that your people exist, and if you haven't found your tribe yet, just keep looking,
right.
because they exist,
They will fall into
Exactly.
place.
They exist.
and
So-
nothing that's meant for you will ever pass you by.
I've been saying that to myself
It's true.
lately. Side note.
Yep.
From our previous episode. I've been repeating
I
that.
really truly believe that.
Me too. So do I. Well, I think my souvenir for this holiday season is that it's funny you mentioned God, Mariah, because I feel that I've been on a journey this 21 years that I've raised my daughter as a single mom, and God is telling me that he's proud of me. And that's my
Huge.
souvenir, is that God is proud of me because of the work that I've put in, not only to my careers as a writer and as an educator, but also the work that I put into my daughter and the work that I put into my relationship with God. When he says he wants something from me, I move in that direction. I have been questioning myself whether or not I'm doing it with a sincere heart, because I'm a sincere person. I like to be sincere. That's important to me. But apparently, God feels
God
it's
is pleased.
sincere. He feels that when I make a step, when he tells me he needs something from me, when I feel that in my spirit, and I make that move, if it's more prayer time, if it's more reading the Bible time, I'm not perfect. I
course.
still do me. I still, honey, like to do me.
And we're human.
But
you know what
right,
I mean?
we're human.
So
I'm not perfect,
you're
and
supposed to a
right,
little bit of everything.
exactly.
Everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation,
right?
exactly. But God is proud of me, and that is my souvenir.
And you are a
Well,
multifaceted woman.
You are.
And
Thank
you
you.
are too.
Thank
And
you,
so
and so are you.
Rachel. And I think
So
that
are
we
you.
can all say, like, collectively, it is true when my aunt said, you're dope. Like, just seeing you and what you're accomplishing, and you are really building brick by brick, and you are showing up. And it's so beautiful to see people live in their calling,
Right.
because not everybody trusts that they can
Yes.
exist in that
Yeah,
space.
and their authentic self. And authenticity is the highest frequency, right?
Absolutely.
So that's wonderful. So
All
let's
right.
cheer with our coffee cups to
Let's
that.
cheer to 2026.
Yeah.
Okay.
And higher
Oh, I've got to
higher vibrational frequencies and
And to the good life.
to the good life.
And on that note, we're closing out this episode. I'm going to readjust my mic. Thank you for joining us. We're so excited.
thank you.
We can't wait to come here and film again. This
Yep.
has just been so wonderful. Thank you
It
for
has.
joining us.
Thank you,
and
everybody.
Have a little souvenir holiday.
That's
Remember
right.
the things that make you spark for joy. Sparkle up.
That's right. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy
Bye-bye.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
And that's a wrap.
Yay!
Okay, we've got to get a picture.